What's up, y'all? Today's guest happens to be one of my good friends. He met him through my wife, and what I've been feeling lately about kids and parents in youth sports. I've just been ranting and raving about it, and I wanted to sit down and talk to someone about it because I'm sick and tired of seeing and trying to understand why parents are so hovered over their kids when they're trying to play sports and trying to just enjoy the time that they have to do it. Not everyone's going to become a pro, so this is the time that they can enjoy it, but parents just don't let them do that. So this guy has been an athlete most of his life, and then he also has been an umpire for a long time. So he's been in the sport and has been yelled at and talked to and all that kind of stuff by parents. And he's a parent himself. So we get to sit down, we get to talk different aspects and different things, and it was a good conversation, man, and I hope y'all enjoy it. This is Rich Schuler.
It's a strange year, man. It really is a strange year. I've just been working from home, man. Just taking care of the little one. Trying to stay positive, avoid the negative. Just keep it moving, man.
Yeah.
Control what I can, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's been all right. I was kind of ready to get out there a little bit, with work and stuff, but other than that, I got no complaints, man.
Yeah. So what have you guys been doing differently than you did before? Like you and your family?
We've gotten a little bit more constructive, just as far as with the little one, with Adriana. Just getting active, you know what I mean? Doing like little more hands-on stuff. That's one thing I've noticed in this world. You can kind of get lost in your phones and put the videos on and just kind of occupy your time. But, just kind of getting back to the old school ways, painting, singing songs, like little simple things like that.
Right.
So, you really, it's a challenge, but at the end of the day, it like I said, I try and look at the positive in everything. And, it just brought us closer. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of it's uncertain times, you know what I mean? So It's just like, as far as keeping everybody going it's been a little bit of a challenge, but it is what it is. So
yeah, man, it's tough, and it's even tougher because everything's been made political. I know at my work a lot of people are going back and forth, and because of the whole political thing, and if you're wearing a mask or if you're not wearing a mask, I'm just like, what are you doing, man? I'm just trying to follow the rules. I'm just doing what I'm told.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think as far as, the political stuff, people have gotten so far into it, you know what I mean? Yeah. And they're just focused on party. And it's more like, where's the human aspect? You know what I mean? Just live. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. That's what America is. It's what makes it awesome. You can have your own views. But as far as that's what your life's about,
right?
That's not what it is. You know what I mean? So, even with that kind of stuff, I like having conversations about it. Yeah. But you or I or anybody, we're not going to sway each other's opinion at the dinner table. You know what I mean? So it's like I can give my views, you can give yours. I respect it, know, and just keep it moving. You may bring some insight to what I believe, and I might bring some insight to you, but that's it. You know what I mean? It's like, just keep it moving.
And with a big percentage of the world is not everyone is used to arguing. They're not used to having debates with each other and stuff like that. It's all yelling at each other. Yeah. It's whoever yells the loudest. Yeah. That's all it is.
And it shouldn't be.
Right.
You know what I mean? It shouldn't be. There's so much passion and frustration in people's voices, and it's just tone it back and talk. You know what I mean? We're all here, we're all living. You know what I mean? Look at the things you have and just don't get that far into it. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we really don't have anything to do with it.
Exactly.
In a sense, you know what I mean? Like,
no,
so
right.
it's like, it's so in our faces nowadays. You know, like I was saying about the phones and stuff, like, it's so here, like within your, right in your face, like, and that's how they want it to be. Yeah. Like, and that's, you know, I feel like they want to divide us. You know what I mean? And it's like, definitely. That way you're way over here and I'm way over here, and nobody comes to a common ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like on my last podcast, I kind of ranted about when I came across an article about Disney World. Like, the media really tried to knock off and like knock down and cancel Disney World, right? Because of something they, you know what I mean? They tried to find the worst, try to make one of these small things that happen into something big.
Absolutely.
And put it out there. It's like,
and that goes back to the negativity. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're always trying to find the negative and stuff. Yeah. And then in turn, the people try and find the negative in everything. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's just a bad way to live. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much to be grateful for. Yeah. At the end of the day, like, just look, like, everybody look around, like, look what you got. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, definitely.
There's some countries out there where they don't even eat. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Like, it's like,
they're hoping like rice falls from the sky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I think if we just stay positive, you know, and know that we're going to get out of this at some point. I know, like, the light's not, you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel yet. But I think if we just keep moving and stay positive and stick together, that's how we're going to make it through.
Let's take a break for a second. We're going to stop and pause and talk about vegan omega-3s. Where are you going to get vegan omega-3s at? Where I know one place you can get them is Strong Tower Nutrition, stnutrition.com. Vegan omega-3s, what are they at first, you know? So these omega-3s, they're called vegan because they use algal oil, and they're not using the actual fish oil that you get in your grocery stores or your pharmacies and all those types of things. And it's because that fish can accumulate toxins, and spoiled fish can produce peroxides. When fish consume these algae, the fish then contain high amounts of EPA and DHA in their system. And this is how they get the fish oil. You know, you're taking the algae that the fish have already eaten. And this way, with the vegan omega-3s, we're just going to take the algae by itself and cut out the middleman, which is the fish. So that way you don't have to worry about no fishy smells or anything like that. The omega-3s can support healthy pregnancy, boost eye health, support cardiovascular health, aid in cognitive development and function, improve memory, and can reduce inflammation. We all want some of that. So at stnutrition.com, you can save 10% on your order by using the code STRONG, STRONG. And you go to stnutrition.com, use the code STRONG on any purchase that you do, you know, sign up for. You get 10% off. And we just thank you for your support. And then we'll continue to provide the supplements that we know that work for you and work for us. Taste good, smell good, all the good stuff. So, stnutrition.com. Back to the podcast. Something like fun you've been doing like during this whole thing, like watching anything, like did you do anything like something that you haven't done before, something creative? I don't know.
So I mean, I play guitar. You know, I'm trying to get better at that. Been watching like a lot of Netflix. Right. Got into Ozarks. Like,
oh really?
Yeah.
I haven't watched that yet.
Ozark. It's a good show. Like, the ending's probably one of the best endings I've ever seen to a series. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I kind of knew where it was going, but I didn't see them doing it the way they did. Right. And I'm not going to ruin it because you got to see it. But, yeah, I mean, I just been, you know, watching a little bit more TV than I should. Yeah. You know, I been getting a lot of yard work done. Mm-hmm. Like, my yard is fresh right now. You know? Like, it's like, it's pristine. Like, so that's been cool. You know what I mean? Like, just because I'm home. You know, if there's some downtime, I just get out there and do a little work, and staying active. You know what I mean? Like, when this all started, like, you know, it was cheesesteaks, pizzas. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, cheesesteak pizza. Right. I was like, Brennan, we gotta pump the brakes here. Like, So I just started going. I go for a run at lunch. You know what I mean? Like just to get out there. And it's been good. You know what I mean? Like just getting out there and getting active. But nothing really like off the wall creative. You know what I mean? Like it's just been it's been good to get back to my roots because I was an ex-athlete and stuff like that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you know what I mean? I just with dad life, you know, like I joke with people. I'm like, yeah, dad bod. Like it used to be a joke. You know what I mean? And I spoke that right into existence.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, just, you know, Brenna was taking videos one day. Adriana and I were dancing or something, and it was like, she took this video, and I'm like, who in the fuck is that? You know what I mean? It was like, so it just brought awareness to me. I gotta get moving. Right. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, like it's just been good. I had no complaints at all.
And
man.
bro, that's the funniest thing is like, I thought during this whole thing would be the opposite. I thought people would like start like get bigger. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it's not. It's the total opposite of what I thought, because now people are realizing like, oh, I have time to work out. Yeah. There's nothing else to do.
Yeah. And your body speaks to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like if you get into that slug mode where you're just sitting on the couch and you've gone through like 9 or 10 episodes or something. Yeah. And there's pizza boxes, Taco Bell, like, you know what I mean? And you're just like, yo, what am I doing? You know what I mean? Like, your body starts to talk to you like, yo, we got to get out here. Yeah. So I've just been going to the park more with my daughter. And, yeah, just getting out and going for a walk. You know, like just something as simple as that has been awesome. So I thought it was going to be the same way too. But I think it all comes down to your mindset, because some people have just gone with it, you know what I mean? And but I couldn't let that happen, not just yet. Right. You know what I mean? Like I was not just yet. So
especially having that kind of background, I think you're always more conscious of it. When you come from being an athlete, you're always like,
absolutely.
You have this thing to look back on what I used to be. Yeah. You know, I still do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Muscle memory is a beautiful thing, man. Yeah. Like because I got out of it for probably 3 or 4 years, and I just jumped back into running probably like a month ago, right? And I'm already back to it. Yeah, you know what I mean. So that's been awesome, right? It was a little weird being out of shape the way I am, because gravity's a bitch. We all know that. Like the older you get, the heavier you get, but that mindset's still there. Yeah. You know what I mean? That little grind, that little fire inside.
Yeah, you always have that itch still.
Yeah, you know once you hit it, it's like, okay, we're back. Let's get it. Like my wife's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, nothing. She's like, why don't you ever sit down? I'm like, once it happens,
I'm not getting up.
It's go time. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? So I've just been digging deep and just getting after it. I'm having a good time with it.
Yeah, so. I mean, that's all you can do. That's what keeps you going, is if you got to find the fun in it.
Yep.
You know,
and I have friends, you know what I mean? Like I have a buddy of mine, he's in fitness hard. And just watching like his Instagram stories, like they've motivated me a little bit. Like he's out there getting it, you know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, I gotta go, you know. And it's one thing I'm trying to get ahead of it now. I hit my runs during lunchtime, like in the heaviest of humidity, you know what I mean? That way when fall comes, I'm hitting the ground running, you know what I mean? Exactly. So my goal is to like get into some 5Ks down the line, you know what I mean? Like just getting with it, because it makes you feel so much better, dude. Right. Like it's hard. There's no better feeling than like just being in better shape. Exactly. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like it's like, you know, your blood's flowing. Like it affects everything. Your mind, your blood flow, like your relationships. Like you're just able to just, you know, think clearly. Like it's been awesome. So I never thought it'd be that way, but it is. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what turned my life around, because I had like a lot of anger issues and stuff growing up. And I didn't even start lifting because of that. I started lifting just because all my friends were doing it. Yeah. Most of my friends were on the football team. I was playing soccer. So I was the only soccer player to lift with the football players. Yeah. And you know, I had the strength and conditioning coach, man. That was just so tough. There was a moment that really clicked in my mind, and my upper body was beat at the time. Like during this workout it was towards the end, and I couldn't like move my arms. There was no way I was moving my arms. So
you had the Gumby,
dude. I literally, they were like Jello. I couldn't even move them, you know. And Coach DT was like, all right, we're doing push-ups, blah, blah, blah. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So, and not just any push-ups, like decline push-ups. So our feet were on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got down. I was like, I physically cannot push myself back up.
Yep.
So he saw, he was walking around, like, just motivating people. He's yelling at people, you know. He sees me laying there.
Yeah.
I was like, Coach, I physically cannannot get up. He was like, all right. He took me by the shirt and just lifted me up. Up, down, 10 times. He's like, there you go.
Yep.
I was like, but so that just, it did something to my mind. And I was just like, I want to do this to people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then, you know, I did that for a long time.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
Because people weren't so accepting like I was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they just wanted to say they wanted to lose weight, but then they just didn't really want it.
They didn't have the passion. You know what I mean? Like it's, like I've had coaches where, you know, they'll say terms like, yo, sometimes you just got to get nasty with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to dig deep. And like, I think the best thing about sports teaches you, like, even if you get, like, the simple cliche thing, even if you get knocked down, you get back up.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's like, and you can tell, like, when you're with your clients or something like that, you can tell their level of competitiveness pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like even with kids, you know what I mean? Like, there's some kids where you can be a little bit more, you know, firm with.
Yeah.
And then there's other kids where they just don't get it yet.
Right.
And that's fine. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But with the adults and stuff, even they're even in that category of like, okay, there's one I can really push, and there's one who's going to take a little bit more coaching.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right,
and
exactly.
that's what I've noticed with it. But the ones where they want it, that's when it becomes fun.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you get to see them develop and progress.
Right.
And there's nothing in the world better than, you know, like bringing that out of somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Which is why I still train. I train our friend because she's an MMA fighter. She knows what she wants, and she knows what she has to do to get there.
Absolutely.
So all I got to do is show her what I want from her. Show her the movements. Show her how to, you know, and I just push her.
Yeah.
And then she has the intensity herself. I don't have to do any of that.
Yeah. And I, you know, same as you, I've been there. You know what I mean? Like where I can't move. I've been on the incline bench doing the push-ups, and my face hits the ground. Yeah. You know what I mean? And but you've pushed your body to the maximum. Right. And that's what it's all about. Right. You know what I mean? Like when you're in the gym and stuff, like, and on the field. You know what I mean? Like I've been on a soccer field, and one time I got a Charlie horse in my calf. Yeah. And my big toe went under my foot, right? And I'm running down the sideline, and I'm at full sprint, and my big toe went right under my foot, and I stepped on it. What? And it was like, I thought I broke it. Like I thought it like literally like was off my foot. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm yelling for the trainer, and he comes out, and I'm like, Marty, it ain't there no more, dude. Like I'm like, ugh. So he finally like took my shoe off, and my big toe was just like, like underneath. Yeah. So like I've been there, but that comes down to preparation too. Like I wasn't hydrated enough to try and get to, you know what I mean? So there's all kinds of things that go into it, but you know, I think mindset is first. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then getting your body right to be able to get there is important too. So, but yeah, that sucked, dude. That was like,
I bet.
That was like,
how old were you when
I was in high school? It was like a big game. You know what I mean? Like there's people in the stands everywhere. Like I'm running down the sideline as fast as possible, and boom, my big toe, dude, just went bam right under my foot. I was like, I've never had this happen before.
Yeah, there's a middle school. I went to slide tackle this kid, and another kid came sliding at me at the same time. His cleat went into my knee. He was wearing the wrong type of cleats. Oh, yeah. He was wearing, like, the metal ones.
The studs.
And it got into my knee. I still have a huge scar from it. And I didn't realize it went like that, you know. And he pulled it out, and blood was just dripping from my knee. Yeah. And people wanted to call the ambulance and stuff like that. I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, wrap it up. Let's get
that's
it.
all I did. I bandaged up and it scabbed up and it was fine. Like, I didn't need stitches or anything.
Yeah.
But I just remember that time and I was like, that was crazy. Why did I do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you're a warrior. You know, when you're out on the field, man, like you go into
the
that
mindset is also different.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, it is that mentality. It is a warrior's mentality.
Oh, it is.
Especially when you're competitive.
Oh, yeah.
And you want to compete and win. And
like if you can get to that point where like you literally say to yourself, like, we're not going to lose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you get all, whatever it is, 11 guys, 9 guys, like to like be on that page.
Yeah, exactly.
You're an unstoppable force.
Right.
Like I've seen it. You know what I mean? Like in high school, like we won a state championship. It was back in 2006. And, you know, we were up against William Penn High School. And they were better than us. Like on paper, like they were better than us.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can ask anybody. They were just, they had a better team. And on paper, that was the thing. Right. You know what I mean? But like we were a unit, you know what I mean? And we had guys who didn't have as much talent, but their mindset, you know what I mean, on that was, we're not losing. I don't care what they think they are.
Right.
And to see that come together is unexplainable.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that unstoppable force it's powerful. You know what I mean? And that's what it takes to win championships. You know what I mean? Like you see all these guys, or you'll see teams, and if they have one guy that just doesn't buy in, he ruins the whole team.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Like you see it all the time.
Yeah.
And like the locker room is so important. You know what I mean? Like it's although like high schools, like we don't really have like locker rooms per se where we're going into clubhouses and stuff, but like you know, you go to practice, that's part of the locker room. Right. You know what I mean? It's your what's it called? The team
like bonding, camaraderie.
Yeah, camaraderie. It's a camaraderie. If you have that camaraderie, you're already leaps and bounds ahead of other teams. Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was a good time though. You know, just to see that happen. Yeah. It was cool.
I also found like I was never on a really championship winning team or anything, but like one year, I think it was my senior year of high school, and my brother, they brought my brother up from 8th grade to play on varsity. Right. Because he was just killing middle school kids, man, in soccer. And I was like, yo, come up and play with me. Like, it took some persuading, but then he came up, right? I was like, I'll tell you, like, you're going to have fun. Yeah. Like, this team, we just had fun all the time. Like, at practice, like, together, like, in school. And it made it more, like, okay that we lost. Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because we had each other. We played together. And we lost together. Yeah. So even though, like, we weren't that great, like, we just did it together.
Yeah. I agree. Like, I think you get more out of losing than winning. Right. Like, that's 100%, obvious. You know what I mean? Like, when I was a sophomore in high school, I was a shortstop playing at Caravel. We were in the playoffs. You know what I mean? And it was semifinals, I believe, or like the quarterfinal or something like that. Whatever game it was the game to get to Frawley, and then that would have been the Final Four. Right. Man on second and third, and I'll never forget it. I can still see it in my, you know what I mean, in my vision, like in my eyes. Like, this ball gets hit to me at shortstop. I barely made an error all year. You know what I mean? It was automatic, and ball comes to me. I go down. I come up a little bit too quickly, and boom, right under my legs. Game winner. Season's over. You know what I mean? I felt bad for the seniors. Yeah. You know what I mean? But, like, I'll never forget it. My coach, Coach Krug was his name. Great guy. Yeah. He called me, and he said, look, you're going to learn more from this, you know what I mean, than any game you've ever won. You know what I mean? And sure enough, 2 years later, he goes, just stick with it. You know what I mean? You're going to learn lessons from this. And he said, I'll never forget it. He was like, you're going to come back, because I was in 10th grade at the time. Right. He was like, you're going to come back and do great things. My senior year, we won a state championship, and that was all she wrote. Yeah. And it was from that, like, that conversation with that guy. You know what I mean? I was like, all right, I just stuck with it. Granted, I was so upset for like 2 weeks. Like, my mom said, she was like, you didn't talk for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But it was like, I felt so bad for my teammates. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like their high school careers were over. But that lesson, you know what I mean? Like from that loss, like it took me to the next level. You know what I mean? Like it was cool. And I never really thought of that beforehand. Like I had lost games, you know what I mean? But like something that impactful, you know, like that and that serious of a game, it was like, damn, this sucks. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
But you know, you get more lessons out of losing. I'm a true believer in that.
So I just lost my train of thought.
All good. I do it all the time, man.
No, man. So what? So when you were okay, sophomore in high school, were you pushing yourself, or were like your parents pushing you? Because you know, like every kid that age, if you're really into baseball, you want to go to the MLB, you know, or something like that. Yeah, you know what I mean. So how'd that work for you?
So I think early, that work ethic was ingrained. You know what I mean? My dad always said, you know, we'd wake up in the morning and just go out and mess around, like throw the baseball or kick the soccer ball or whatever. And he would always tell me, be like, how many other kids are out here at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning? You know what I mean? Like, not many. You know what I mean? And that just stuck with me. It was one of those things where I wanted to be good. You know, I knew that I had talent, but I knew that I wasn't just going to get by on talent. You know, and as you get into the higher levels, everybody's good. You know what I mean? And that work ethic and the work you put in is going to show. Yeah. So I think, I mean, I was pushed. I had a good foundation. You know what I mean? Like from a parent aspect, like, and coaches over the years. You know, they instilled it. They pushed me for sure. But I wanted to do it. There was nobody like, if I didn't want to do it, I truly believe this. Like if I didn't want to do it and I was like, Dad, I want to go play guitar. Right. My dad would have been like, all right, cool, man. Like he was like that. You know what I mean? Like it was because I truly, truly loved the sports I was playing. And they could see that. Yeah. So they put me in the position to succeed. Right. You know, and then, yeah, like that's really what it came down to was, you know, I wanted to do it. Yeah, and that was the most important thing. Right. You know what I mean? So I think that goes a long way with kids. You know what I mean? And you got to be able to tell, and you got to be able to see it. You know what I mean? You're around your kids all the time, and you can see if they have that fire. You know what I mean? If they don't, and they like playing, that's cool too. Or if they want to go do something else, right? Let it be. You know what I mean? Like not everybody's gonna want to be an athlete.
Right, and there's also a fine line between really forcing your kid to do something, because I'm a big proponent of that, because if it wasn't for my dad making me do stuff, I would have never done anything. Right. Yeah. You know, I went to a flag football tryout one time. I saw a team already practicing, and I thought in my head, like, I already had to know the stuff. Right. I was like, I don't know any of that. I don't want to go. I was crying. Yeah. And he was dragged me. And then I found out, like, I did really well and all this other stuff, and I had fun the whole season. I had fun. I cried because we didn't make the playoffs. Yeah. And then different things I did that he had to make me do to play, and I ended up playing my whole life. Yeah. Stuff like that.
I think you put your kids in as many things as possible. Yeah. And you just see what sticks. Right. You know what I mean? Like, if it's sports, awesome. It's funny because, like, people will tell me, like with Adriana, my daughter, they're like, oh, she's going to be a great softball player. And I'm like, she might, but I really don't. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to, like, drill her at 3 to, like, hey, go outside and hit. Right. You know what I mean? Like, she likes singing. She likes dancing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, she likes, I see a little theater in our near future. Like, you know what I mean? She's all about it, and I'm all about it. She's going to be who she is. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like, if she likes sports, awesome. She has a dad who played a lot of them, and I'll put her in positions and know what to do. But if not, it'll be a whole learning experience for me. Exactly. You know what I mean? So I'm all in, you know, like whatever she wants to do is what's meant to be. You know what I mean? Like, it's just it. So yeah. Now,
like, as a parent too, and as like someone who's been like I don't know if you've done anything else. I know you've umpired for baseball. I don't know if you've like been a ref or anything else. I never had any experience because I did. I coached basketball for like little kids for a couple years, and I never experienced any parents. Like I never had any issues with parents.
Right.
Like what have you like come into anything or like heard things? Because I know when I go to my nephew's games, I hear things. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like these are kids. What are you doing?
It like umpiring. I've been umpiring now for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, man. It was like a whole new perspective. You know, because even me, like I was a player. I was on the other side. I yelled at umpires my whole life in the way you're supposed to.
Right.
But like I would, like argue a call or whatever. But then you're behind the plate, and like all eyes are on you. You know what I mean? Like, and if you could literally, and here's where they get it messed up. You could literally call the best game of your life. If you miss one pitch, you're the worst umpire they've ever seen. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of those parents who never played.
Exactly.
They don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, and what I do with them is because you'll hear them chirp, and I let them chirp. It's part of baseball. It's part of the game. Like how many games come on, Blue? Like you said, you hear it all the time. But it's one of those things where I'll time it out just right. You know what I mean? When they're in the middle of changing innings and the kids are, the other team's going out on the field and the other team's running back in their dugout, I'll like really nonchalantly walk over to the fence and I'll take my mask off and I'll say, hey, you want to do it? Come on over here. Like, you want to go and umpire?
Yeah, right.
And they just look at you like you're not supposed to talk to me.
Right.
Well, I've been out here, man. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this ain't my first rodeo.
Right.
Like, I will definitely, like, just bring some new perspective to you because it's not easy umpiring, reffing, or anything.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think it's the American way. Like, you're watching football, and we see it all the time. I'm a proponent. Like, I'll yell at the TV.
Yeah.
Like, he just made the worst call. But meanwhile, we have 4 or 5 different angles of replay we can see.
Right. They don't have that.
They don't have that. It's at game speed where you're like, these dudes are running 4.2 40s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're going to miss a call.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Right.
But yeah, it is. It's those parents where I've noticed they're the loudest. They have no feel for the game whatsoever.
Right.
Then you'll have a guy, it'll be a dad who played. And he'll come up to you maybe at the end of the game or, you know what I mean, like in the middle of innings. It's just how they approach you that you can tell right away.
Yeah.
You know, who might ask you, like, where was that ball? You know what I mean? But, like, it's interesting. But it is a new perspective. And I enjoy it. But it definitely is not easy.
Yeah.
And I challenge anybody to go and get behind that plate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would never
like,
do it.
Yeah.
I would never ref. I would never do any of that.
Well, first off, you have, like, they're kids, you know what I mean? And sometimes the catchers aren't the best catchers.
Yeah.
So, and some of these kids are throwing hard, you know what I mean? And like you have a ball being thrown at you.
Yeah.
And a catcher who doesn't catch the ball every time. You know what I mean? Like, so I challenge you there, first off. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to get pegged by a ball.
Right.
It's inevitable.
Yeah.
But then, making a call because they're in Little League. This isn't going to be consistent. Like, guys aren't just spotting balls up inside and outside.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, they're just not. So if my man like starts and I see him getting into a groove somewhere and the catcher's like 3 or 4 inches off the plate, it's got to be a strike.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a merry-go-round.
Right.
We're not letting people just walk.
Right.
And you get nothing out of that.
Yeah.
You get nothing out of walking. You know what I mean? Like, these kids, like, and I've seen it. They'll just stand up there. They're just, and they're waiting.
Just let it go, yeah.
They're waiting because 9 times out of 10.
Especially if they're short, yeah.
Absolutely. And they're just waiting for that walk because they love that little trot to first base.
Right.
And their mom's like, yeah. Like, so, I challenge them. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. So it's been cool, man. I really enjoy it. And, I get to umpire at my old Little League.
Yeah.
So it's like where I used to play.
That's
you know
cool,
what I
yeah.
mean? Like, it's a lot of fun, man. But
yeah, and I always said, like, I know a couple of people, like, I know a couple guys in the NFL. I know Jake Fraley. I know he went to Caryville for a year.
Yeah.
He's playing for the Mariners.
yeah, he's a stud, dude. I watched him play, man. He is good.
Dude, but people don't know how much he practiced.
Oh, yeah.
How much he was in his house, like, you know, he had like his batting cage like in his house or something.
Oh, yeah.
Or a pitching machine or throwing machine, stuff like that.
Yep.
You know,
that's what it takes. At the end of the day, that's what it takes.
It's not just playing your best game every single game. And I think that's a lot of times what parents get in their head. You know, you think your kid's gonna like make it or like get somewhere, and also like I know as a player, I never wanted to listen to my dad during the game.
Right.
I don't want my dad to come over and tell me what I'm doing wrong. He can wait till we get home. You know?
Exactly.
Which my dad never did that.
Right.
You know, he was always on the sideline taking pictures anyway.
Yeah.
But I see parents do that. They pull their kid aside. I'm like, that's the side for the coach.
Yeah.
But I know once these kids get older and get into high school, like
Absolutely.
their high school coaches won't tolerate
No.
that. So
yeah, so it all starts with preparation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we especially in Delaware, like we have a harsh winter. You know what I mean? We have good summers, but the winter is what kills us. And I've seen it because I've coached and traveled all over the country. You know what I mean? And you will see teams from California or Florida and there's a difference. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the reason is because they're playing all year round. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
And you can see, you know, I'll talk to parents all the time and, like at work or something, and I'll ask the dads or even the moms. I'm like, hey, is Jimmy out there playing yet? And this will be like November, December. You know what I mean? I'm like, and they're like, it's wintertime. And I'm like, no, I know, but like there's like batting cages and you know what I mean? There's places to go.
Right.
And they're like, no, we usually start that in like March. And I'm like, all right, like I'm not there to be like, look, he's not going to get it. You know what I mean? That's not what I'm there for. But I try and enlighten them on just what's going on out there with, if you're playing baseball, you got to do it. You know what I mean? Like it's got to be, it doesn't necessarily have to be an all year thing, but you can't start March 1st or even in January. You know what I mean? Like if you're starting in January, you're ahead of the curve in Delaware.
Right.
You know what I mean? But across the country, you're way behind.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's those kids like Jake and you know what I mean? Like I have a bunch of friends too where it's like an all year thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they love doing it, first off. They're taking like 1,000 swings a day.
Oh yeah, you have to.
You know what I mean? And but that's where it comes from. It becomes second nature. You know what I mean? Like, and you can tell the ones who put in the work. Like coaching and stuff, like you can tell the ones that were out there in February, or I'm sorry, not February, but November, December, you know what I mean? You can see the ones who were actually putting in work. The ones, you know, and even that's what makes it frustrating. You'll even have like good players. Right. Who, and like good, they're quality pitchers. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you'd be like, hey man, when did you pick up a ball? And they're like 2 weeks ago. And you're like, come on, dude. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you should have been doing band work. You know what I mean? Like, running and... Like, I know when they're kids, 12, 13, like, they're playing all these other sports, which is awesome.
And that was a question I was going to have for you is, like, what's the age that you finally sit and, like, make that decision to let's go for it?
Yeah, I mean...
You know what I mean?
So, it's different for some kids. Right. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a football player... You know what I mean? Depending on what position you are, you're probably a tank. You know what I mean? You're probably a big dude, and you just have football all over you. Right. You know what I mean? So, like, they're able to, like, really, really get into the training for that specific sport. But I think, you know, for other players in other sports, like, if you like soccer, if you like basketball, play those sports. You know what I mean? Like, playing soccer... Like, and you know, I talk to a lot of dads like football. And soccer did more for me than any sport. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a huge proponent of that. Like, your first step. You know what I mean? Like, your agility, your fitness. You know what I mean? Like, your awareness. You know, like, it brought so much to me. That way, when I got on the baseball field, because I played for, like, an elite soccer team back in the day. Concord Roma, shout out to you guys. It's been a long time. But we were good, you know what I mean? And we trained Monday through Friday, and we ran miles. So when baseball season came, it was like, this is nothing compared to what we've been doing all winter, fall, spring, summer. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
So I you know, it's one of those things where it's different for every kid. Mm-hmm. But if you have a kid who loves all sports, and they're, you know, even seniors in high school, like, why not? Unless they've had literally like people come up to them like, hey, like, you're throwing 98 miles an hour. Yeah. You're not doing shit. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you don't need nothing else.
Yeah, you don't need anything else. Just continue to do what you're doing. Right. That's God given. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, there's those special kids out there who literally they have it like that. But anybody else, you can't put a restriction. Like, I've seen guys, like coaches out there in Little League. Because I had my youngest brother is 6 years younger than me. Mm-hmm. And I was probably 14, and he's playing Little League. And this coach was telling the guys, like, hey, you're going to be my third baseman. You're going to be my shortstop. You're going to be my second baseman. Like, he was, like, having them at set positions at, like, 9. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, what are we doing here? Yeah. And, like, you get no feel for the game if you're doing that. Like, at 9 years old, there's no way you've stamped that guy as a third baseman. Mm-hmm. Because, like, nowadays, like, college coaches, like, they want that wiry guy who's just an athlete. Yeah. Just an athlete altogether. He can play second, short, you know, in the outfield. Mm-hmm. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for that. So if you specialize a guy and you're like, he's my third baseman, well, good luck. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because he could be playing anywhere if he's that good and he goes to college. Like, it's, and like you said, like, these, you know, the dads, like, who are trying to coach their kids, like, while they're in the box. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, they're in the batter's box. Right. That little, hey, Johnny, get your elbow up. Right. Or, you know what I mean? Like, that's not doing anything for them. Like, if the one thing that you should focus on as a parent is getting them prepared. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's all you can do. That way, when they're in the game, they just react. Mm-hmm. If they've put the work in, you're going to see results. Right. But if not...
That's why I never understood, like, why are you just now telling them this?
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, it makes no sense, and it's not going to do anything for them. Yeah. One, you're the annoying dad. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, like trying to coach your kid from the batter's box, from the stand. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of them things where it's like, look, focus on getting them prepared. Do your research. You know what I mean? On injury prevention. You know, there's like, we have cell phones with YouTube on it. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you can literally go on YouTube and get workouts for days on specific elbow exercises. Right. Or I pointed at my elbow and it's my shoulder. But no, elbow, shoulder, you know what I mean? Right. Like focus on that. Like take your coaching and do that. You know what I mean? Like, have them prepared, because at the end of the day, like, especially baseball, these are unnatural motions that we're doing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So if your body is not up to speed and you're not up to par, you are going to get injured. Yeah. You know, like, what guy do you know just goes out on a mound and just pitches? Right. You know what I mean? And continues to do that for whether it's a 20, 30, 40 game season. Exactly. It doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not, it's not something that exists. Right. Which is why, like, also, like, if you look at all the other sports too, you'll see a lot of kids getting injured more. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, you never really saw that before. Because plus they're overplaying all the time. Yep. You know, you got AAU basketball that's like year round. Mm-hmm. They're playing like 5 games a day. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I remember when we played soccer, like, and I'm sure you did too, it was like 3 games a day. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes if you made it to the further rounds. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just, that's kind of where I'm at with it, is like, prepare, do your research, because it's there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If you're not using it, you're doing no justice And then you want to, that's the thing. Then you want to see results.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, hold on. Like, and be honest with yourself. If you don't know anything about baseball, if you played when you were 12, you don't know much. You don't.
Right. Just
like
from watching TV.
Just from watching TV. Like, it's just not, it's not there, you know? So just be honest with yourself. And, you know, get around good, solid guys within the sports. They're out there. You know what I mean? Like, and utilize them. You know what I mean? Like, don't be Mr. Know-It-All. I hate that.
Yeah.
Because none of us know, we don't know everything.
No.
I still learn about the game.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I still want to learn.
There's always something you can learn.
Absolutely.
That's what makes you better if you always want to continue.
Yeah, like you're never going to know it all.
Right.
You know, and it's been awesome. You know, sports have taken me, you know, places I never thought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the people I've gotten to meet. You know what I mean? The personal, you know, speaking skills, or, you know, just talking to people and just getting out there. Like, some people don't have that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, being able now in my job to just go in the office and, you know, intermingle with people I never would have talked to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just like relate, and those skills you get from, I think you get from sports.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
You know what I mean? Being in a huddle or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it may be. But that's the one thing. Like, it's just the dads out there. Like, just prepare your kids. You know what I mean? Like, and that's another thing that drives me crazy with sports is it's like these dads will get into, like, you'll be in the bar or somewhere, and they're like, yeah, my son had 12, 13 strikeouts the other day. I'm like, that's cool, man. Like, it's great to see results. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How old is he? Well, he's 12. That's awesome, dude. Like, but I try and get, you know, the parents to just understand that these games that they're in when they're 12, 13, you know, whether it's 9 through 12, they mean nothing. You're in there to get your work in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like
just reps.
And getting them stronger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As their bodies are growing, you want to be, you know, you want to be able to keep up with that with their strength and conditioning.
Right.
That's where your focus should be. It shouldn't be, you know, bragging about them at the bar. Like, it's awesome. Like, and that's where I think it gets lost a little bit, because the parents are so in the now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're so in the now, they're not thinking about 3 or 4 years ahead. And these kids get burned out.
Yeah, I think they're thinking further ahead.
Yeah.
So when a guy says, oh, yeah, my son Jimmy struck out 12, 13 guys, and you're like, how old is he? He's like, 12. Do you think he has a chance in the MLB? I'm like, dude, it's 12. What are you talking about?
Right. Like, he hasn't even...
They thought too far ahead.
Oh, yeah. He hasn't even, like, started his growth spurt yet.
Yeah.
Like, how do you know? You don't.
That's crazy.
You don't know. And that's what it's a very difficult conversation to have with parents.
Right.
Because, like, I get it. You have your kid, and, like, they're the best thing since sliced bread. You know what I mean? Like, and especially when they do well and they're good at their sport.
Right.
But if you've sold that to your kid and they've bought into that, you've already eliminated work ethic. You know what I mean? Because my name's Johnny. I strike 12, 13 kids out a year or a game.
Yeah.
Cool, man. You're 12. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
Like, so if you bought into that, you're like, I don't really have to do much. At 12, 13, you think that. You know, and that's what I try and get parents into understanding is like, look, this is awesome that your kid has talent. Yeah. But let's prepare him for when it matters. You know what I mean? Yeah. When they're 10th, 11th, 12th grade. And then there's grades on top of that. Like, we can go into so many different angles with it. Like, I know so many players. Delaware has a lot of talent when it comes to athletes, right? And, like, grades, they're the way to succeed. Right. Like, I I'm getting old because I never really, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, damn, grades, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really need that. I'm good at sports. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's,
dude, I'm the same way now too.
Yeah, and it's like, look, like, I try and tell any parent, like, it's so competitive out there. You know what I mean? Like, you have, okay, so there's a recruiting class, and you have 12 players with a 4.0 GPA. If you have a 3.4, best of luck to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's where it's getting to. It's getting so competitive. So I just try and say, look, him or her, they need the grades, like, or they don't go anywhere. It would suck to, like, be a very, very good athlete. And this happened to me. You know what I mean? Because I was just so sport oriented. Like, it was just, this is what I do. This is what I do. And I was good. But when college coaches come up to you, you know what I mean? And then they're like, well, how are your grades? And you're like, well, they're good enough. I'm on the team, is what you're thinking. Right. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm eligible to play. I should be all right. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay. To have a coach come up to you, take your transcripts, take them back to the university and come back and say, you know, Rich, you're going to have to go to junior college for a couple years. Like, it's the worst thing in the world. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, damn, all this work I put in. Yeah. You know what I mean? Now I got to go to junior college. And it's like an eye opener. So I learned from what you know what I mean, from experience. And that's what I try and just bring to the table is like, look, grades. Because I don't want that to happen to another kid.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Last
like,
Chance U, those kids still don't do their work.
No, they don't do their work. And it's like, look, this is what it takes.
That's what it takes.
And, dude, like, over the past 2 years, so the team I used to coach, a kid just got committed to Duke, committed to Harvard. Like, these kids are going places. And not that I had anything to do with it. It's just awesome to be a part of their journey.
Right. But you need grades to get in there.
Exactly. And granted, like, Harvard, dude, like, it's like, you're a smart ass kid. You know what I mean? But you know, they've gotten into some very, very established schools. And to see that, like, there's no better feeling in the world to just see kids be able to work their whole lives and then be able to finally get it. Like, there's no feeling in the world to have kids, like, because I keep in touch with them. You know what I mean? Right. Like, throughout this whole thing, like, some kids didn't have a season. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like you try and take the positive out of the negative. Right. You know what I mean? And like, look, this is a chance for you to take a whole year to get better. You know what I mean? Like, every day you have 365 days till the next year. Right. You know what I mean? Turn it up, get after it, and get better. You know what I mean? And because those little windows of opportunity only come around so often. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you're 32 with a kid. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like it'll speed up on you. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like, take advantage of it. And that's what I try and bring to the table, man. Just bring energy. You know what I mean? And like, just get after it. Like, you have so many opportunities coming your way in like this 5-year span when they're 13, 14. You know what I mean? Like, and for them to be prepared at the end of it, you know what I mean, to get there. Right. No better feeling in the world, man. Yeah, just to see it.
And the reason, even on a smaller scale, so in high school, I was awful at school. And the only reason I got to play soccer is because there were no grades out yet. Right. Because it was the first marking period. So I was able to play full soccer season. Yep. But when it came to like basketball and lacrosse, I wanted to play. Like, I got pulled out of practices. Right. Because nope, you failed this and this, can't play.
And it's the worst feeling, man.
Dude, it's the worst feeling when you see your friends out there going to practice or going to lifting, and I can't go. Yep. I'm just like, it was awful.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. Like, when you get to high school and you get to college, like, we got to be honest here. Like, there's so many distractions. It's not even funny. Right. You know what I mean? You got girls, you got parties, you got, you know, that sport may become the third or fourth most important thing on your list. Right. You know what I mean? And it's the ones who keep it first. Well, school first and sport second. Right. That succeed. Right. You know what I mean? Like, and it's tough to get them to understand that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it is distracting. You know what I mean? You go on a university for the first time, and it's like, wow, this is awesome. You know what I mean? Like, this is right where I want to be. Right. And no parents around. You know what I mean? Like, you can go hang out at your boys. Like, like, it's just one of those. It's one of those things where it's like, look, you got to keep things in priority. You have to keep your priorities straight. And that's something I do with my kids now. It's just like, I try and be there for them. You know what I mean? Just to, like, as like somebody they can talk to. but just drilling that into them. You know what I mean? Like, keep the prize at the top of the list. School and sport. You know what I mean? Like, chase girl, you know what I mean? Have fun. Don't get me, like, don't have fun, but like, get your workouts in.
Right. Don't miss practices.
Yeah, don't miss
be
practice.
Smart about it,
don't miss class.
Don't miss class, right?
Like, dude, that's like, because you can miss class. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
You can miss.
And they don't care.
No, you can miss half the classes and somehow still make it. And like, when they bring them little syllabuses out, you're like, okay, 3 classes I can miss. I'm missing those 3 classes. Right. Is where your head goes. You know what I mean? But it's the ones who are like, nah, and they chisel away and they chisel away. They're the ones who make it. You know what I mean? Like, that's just it.
And then to, like, I think when you're talking about, like, kids being held, like, kids saying, oh, this kid, I don't know, you see it in, like, TV shows, like, in Texas, like, people pay for, like, the high school players stuff, and then, you know what I mean? And then finally they get to college and maybe they don't get that, and they're like, what is this? Yeah. You know what I mean? Automatically, to my mind, I thought about Johnny Manziel. I thought about his whole life that was happening to him, even in college. Yep. But then he got to NFL, and they were like, what? Yeah. They're like, we don't deal with that. I don't care who you are. Yeah. Mr. Texas who? Yep. You know what I mean? And they shut the door.
I mean, I think a lot of, there's kids out there who get it handed to them on a silver platter at the end of the day. Yeah. And it's the ones who, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, we all come from different backgrounds. We all have, different ways of coming up. But I think if it's one of those things, if you've got it inside of you, you know what I mean? And I call it the dog. I'm like, if you got the dog in you, just grind. You know what I mean? Let it be. Yeah. And be grateful for wherever you go. You know what I mean? Like, some schools, like, literally, you are handed everything. Yeah. You get per diem money. You know what I mean? Like, you're living like a king. You know what I mean? And so then that's where the distractions come into play. But as far as, like, taking that and just running with it, like, you've lost a dog in you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you've just kind of, like, this is what I do. You know what I mean? Like, I get handed. It's not a good recipe for success. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you've worked your whole life to get there. And if you go to the top schools and you're treated like that, you have one more level, you know what I mean, to get to. Yeah. So if you let off the gas a little bit, you're done. Like, at that level. Right. You know what I mean? If you let off the gas, like, somebody's going to pass you. You know what I mean? And that's what it comes down to. And, like, then they get to the NFL, and then it's so you see them. They get to the NFL. Like, there's some players who literally get to the NFL, and they're like, I made it. You know what I mean? They're getting paid millions of dollars. Like, they lose the dog. You know what I mean? The dog in them, like, they're like, I made it. This is what my goal was. And I've talked to guys who have made it, and they get a taste of that money, and they're like, what else do I need?
Yeah, I don't even need to play. I'm still making money.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, yo, you can make more. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that 3-year, 30 mil sounds way better than league minimum. Yeah. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like, so that's where it comes down to, like, yo, you just got to keep going. Like, and it's even just in life, you know what I mean? Like, us working every day, grind, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I've brought. That's what I've learned from sports is, like, I don't play sports anymore, but I take, the losses, what I've learned, and I try and get it out there to the kids. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, because it's one of those things where if you put the work in, like, let's just say a kid in high school, and they don't even have, like, they're not even the most talented kid. Right. You know what I mean? But if they put the work in and they have the grades, like, I've seen kids who get the grades and were like a subpar baseball player go to great schools. You know what I mean? Because they had the grades. And you're like, damn, like, I've seen it.
And they had at least something that coach saw that they can mold.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, to see that, and don't be that other kid who was great, and then see these other kids where you're like, damn, I used to run circles around these kids. Yeah. And they're going to the best schools in the country. You know what I mean?
Because the kids that are being told that they're great, they're not open to taking criticism. Whereas the kids that are, like, grinding and trying to work their butt off, but they don't have that kind of talent. Yep. You know what I mean? I mean, I grew up watching my sister play AAU basketball, and like she had all the talent in the world. You know, no work ethic.
Yeah.
But also there were kids there that, oh, he's gonna go to the NBA, blah blah blah. Half of them ended up in jail.
Yeah. Yep.
And I was like, let's calm down with the NBA. He's only like 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what
I know. Well, you see it on Facebook now.
Right.
Like the rankings come out.
Yeah.
And there's one dude, I don't know his name, but there's one guy, like, he was like ranked the number 1 or 2 point guard in the country, right? And they stamped him this when he was like 13.
Jeez.
Well, like, he didn't really grow into his body. Like, he stayed small, like, and you got guys that are just as good who have grown. And like, there were some videos coming out and he's getting pushed around, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
He's still got a great jump shot, but as far as like driving the lane, like, he can't compete. Right. You know what I mean? And you're going to tell me that this guy's the number 1 or 2 player now when it matters?
Yeah.
He's not. It happens all the time. And, you know, it's one of those things where it comes down to, if you want to play and you have that work ethic, you can go to the next level in college. You know what I mean? There is a college for you that you can go and play at. But it's so funny because, and on the other side of it, like with social media and stuff, like Zion Williams, like he got found on social media. Yeah. Like, granted, he jumps out of the gym, you know what I mean? So I can see why.
Yeah.
Like, that dude is a specimen, dude. Like, you know what I mean?
Crazy.
Like, and but like, as far as like other dudes, where you rank them like that, they bought in. You know what I mean? Like, they bought in. Back to my other point, like the point I was making. Like, so it's it just comes back to just staying focused, man. Like, and having that humility. Like, know you're good. Just know you're good.
And I have a perfect example for that is I don't know if you know him, David Sills. He 7th grade, he gave a verbal to USC. Lane Kiffin was the coach. So he was in 7th grade. He had Donovan McNabb's quarterback coach.
Okay.
His family has a little bit of money. And so, I mean, throughout the years, you know, people were wondering what happened to him, all this other stuff. You know, he played quarterback at Red Lion, all this and stuff like that. I think he broke his hand or he did something, and it just messed up his throw. Yeah. So that Lane Kiffin left USC, so he didn't have that anymore. He didn't have that verbal commitment. Yeah. And he ended up going. So he wanted to still play quarterback. He wanted to go to college and play quarterback. Because he ended up going to West Virginia, and which is my favorite college team. So I followed him a lot. Right. And so he left. They actually asked him, said, "Hey, instead of redshirting, you want to just go in as wide receiver?" He's like, "No, I want to play quarterback." They let him go.
Oh shit.
So he went to a community college, played quarterback there. He was like, "Man, I really don't have it like I used to, I guess." You know?
Yeah.
So he called West Virginia back. He was like, "You still need a receiver?" He's like, "I want to come back," you know? They're like, "Yeah." So he did his time at receiver at West Virginia. I think he did like 3 years. And then now he's on the Giants trying to earn a spot. Yeah. You know, he went undrafted, ended up with the Bills. And then they let him go and then picked up by the Giants. And he's still working. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because... And it all comes down to 7th grade. Yeah. When you're being looked at that closely in 7th grade, right? You know what I mean? It's easy to get a big head, and I don't think he ever did. Nah.
And those are special kids.
It is.
You know what I mean? Like it comes down to what's inside at the end of the day. Like, and you know, I know a few guys like that too, where it's like they didn't buy in. Yeah. You know what I mean? They just continued to get better. And then, you know, they've overcome injuries, you know what I mean? And they just don't stop, you know? And it's like, I was watching something on Netflix the other day. It's like the kids in junior college, you know what I mean? And like, these dudes, like, they don't got much at all. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have much at all. They're working, you know what I mean? Like, they're going and like flipping burgers and stuff just to get some money in their pocket. Yeah. And, like, that right there, you know, like, you can't teach that. No. You know what I mean? To like, you're on your own. Yeah, like you're on your own and you have one goal in mind and you'll do anything to get there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I emulate people like that. Like, because there's a lot of people out there, you know, who don't get things handed to them on a silver platter. Right. and to, you know, see them, like they're cut from a different cloth. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and when you get those players and they'll do anything to get to where they want to be.
Oh yeah.
Like you can't even explain how fun that is to be around. You know what I mean? Like, because it's contagious. And then like going to junior college, like I got to be around a lot of guys like that. And, you know, they'd come from streets of Reading, you know what I mean? And then just basketball players and stuff that we were in the same apartment complexes. And, you know, being an athlete, like you're in the gym all day long. You're practicing all day long. Like it's just every day. So you build like a rapport with other teams within your school, you know what I mean? And just to hear some of their stories and see where they've gone. Like I'm 32 now, so like they're just as old as I am. Some of them are still playing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they're still playing overseas, and to like know where they came from and to see where they're at now, and they've traveled the world. You know what I mean? It's like I said, like I emulate that, and you know, to see what's inside those guys. Oh yeah. It's contagious. Like you take what you've learned from them. I love
that. It's such a different animal.
Yeah. Oh, like it's unbelievable. Just their work ethic is, you can't even begin to explain what those guys put themselves through.
And like, I think that's what it all boils down to, like with the whole kids sports thing. It's just like kids sports is just that. It's supposed to be for teaching. It's supposed to be for learning. It's supposed to be, you gain different experiences. You gain that discipline. You gain a drive. You gain motivation on, okay, do I really want this? You gain a work ethic.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's a way to do it by having fun.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you were saying, like there's a way to get all those lessons in by still having fun. Oh, yeah. You don't have to be a drill instructor. No, it's just about energy. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Like I go out on Little League fields now and like I'll be hitting ground balls and nobody's saying a word. Yeah. Like it's like there's crickets. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'll literally come out into the like I'll step in front of home plate. Right. And I'll just start screaming. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I'll just start like literally yelling at the top of my lungs. Right. And they're looking at me like they're crazy or like I'm crazy. And you know, that like these kids these days, like they're on a different level. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they have Fortnite. Like I got my third baseman doing the little Fortnite dances and stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, hold on a second, let's dial in here a little bit. You know what I mean? But like just to let them know that this is their, like they're on a field and this is a place to like let it out. You know what I mean? Like get that energy out of you. Like bring it to the table. We need it. Right. You know what I mean? Like, and get out of your comfort zone. You know, like I've seen so many kids that are just like the quieter type, and like I'll just be in the dugout with them and I'll just, you know, try and just keep dosing them. You know, yo, what's up? How you doing? Like, and by like game 4, you just see a total transformation. Oh yeah. And that's what it comes down to, is just energy. You know what I mean? Like from a coaching aspect, and like to top it all, like just with the parents, like if you do have any concerns, just email me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like exactly. Just email me.
Save it for after the game.
Save it for after the game and just email me, or you know what I mean? Like, and like, so like you were saying, high school coaches, when they get to that level, they don't want to hear it. Right? They don't want to hear it. Yeah. Like there are some that literally, if you walk up to their dugout, excuse my French, but they're like, yeah, what the fuck are you doing? Right. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, the rest of the guys on your team are going to look at you and be like, yo, what's your dad doing?
Yeah, like, so get into the routine when they're young. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because understand that that's coming, you know, and it's not, then it becomes, it's not about Johnny getting playing time. It's about who's performing, you know what I mean? And who are the best 9 or 11 or whatever sport you're playing. Right. Who's going to set us up to win? Exactly. Because that's what it comes down to. And, you know, if you get into that mindset as a dad, because like even me, like I'm learned, you know what I mean? Like if Adriana were to play sports, like I need to tone it back because I see it, you know, I played sports at a high level. So we see things quicker. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and we're like, but just pump the brakes, man. Like we're all people. Like and understand that they're kids. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you can't put pressure on a kid like that.
Not at all.
You know what I mean? Like it's like I hate seeing that. Like it's like when they're like yelling at them from the stands, it's like, dude,
what do you expect to get from that?
Yeah, what do you expect to get? Like you just gave like so much negative energy to that kid.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, build them up.
Right.
Like, they may have went 0 for 4, but made a great play in the field.
Right.
Like, let that play be the highlight of the game.
Right. And then the next day, you can work on your hitting or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, take the positive. I don't care if they cut off a ball.
Yeah.
Like, it could be the littlest thing. But take that and make that the highlight of the game.
Yeah.
And like you said, then go back and work on the other things you've seen.
Right.
But they're not, that's the most important thing. They're not going to figure it out when they're in the batter's box or standing on the pitcher's mound.
Exactly.
It's just not happening. You know what I mean? And that's what I try and bring to the table. It's just like, it's kind of like it's like a psychology thing.
It is.
You know what I mean? You're like, yo, like there's a mindset out here. And if you don't got it, that's fine. But like there are people who do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There are people who get it. And we always say like, somebody will come up to you and then you'll be like, yeah, they have a feel. Like they know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? And then there's some people who don't. But there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But just be honest with yourself.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Don't try and act like you know it all.
Yeah.
Because the people who have been there know it right away.
Oh, yeah.
When somebody comes up and you're like, all right, man. Like, I got you. Like, but they know it right away that you've never been there. And I can tell that you haven't.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and there's nothing wrong with it. But just like chill. You know what I mean? Let the coaches coach.
Right.
If you want to coach, get out.
Start a team
or get out on the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like put your time in and go from there. But as far as being a parent, just be a parent. You know what I mean? Like enjoy the game because at the end of the day, like we all know, time flies, man.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? These times go by so quick. So just sit back and enjoy it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just enjoy it because it's going to go by so fast. So fast. I still feel like I'm 12.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's crazy.
Like from like just, you know, being 32, being a dad now, like, yeah, I've grown. You know what I mean? I'm a grown man, but like you still have that little kid within.
Oh, definitely.
Like you still envision yourself running around on the field like a crazy man. You know what I mean? Like, so take that and just know that that's what the kids are going through. Like cherish that. You're not going to get it back. So that's what I bring, man. I just try and like I don't have too many conversations with any parents right now. Just, you know, I've taken some time off from coaching, just, you know, raising my little one. But I'm going to get back into it, man. I can't get enough of it. My goal is to get into like some kind of high school or something like that. But I can't get enough of it, man. When a kid comes up to me and they want to get better, it sparks that flame in me, dude.
Oh,
like,
definitely.
you know what I mean? So that's where I'm at, man. I just have a good time with it. Stay positive. You know, with all this stuff going on, like we started off. Yeah. You know, just get around the people you love. You know what I mean? And just slow down. Stop like acting like you know it all. You know what I mean? Like you may be the smartest guy in the world. Congratulations. Yeah. You know what I mean? Congratulations.
Even the smartest guy in the world doesn't know everything.
No.
You know what I mean?
And it's like, just chill. Like, but yeah, man, it's all good, dude.
But yeah, man, I appreciate all the good insight.
Yeah.
You know,
it's anytime, man.
It's something that
I love what you're doing, dude.
Yeah,
I really
appreciate
do.
Appreciate you. But yeah, man, it's something that like it always kind of like, because as an athlete myself, luckily I didn't have a dad like that. But like the ones I see at my nephew's baseball games and stuff, and I'm just like, how can you be like that and just embarrass your kid?
Yeah.
You know, and that, I mean, it's just something that always gets to me. So, I mean, it's nice that to have to talk to someone with both perspectives of being like being an athlete and then also dealing with parents in the sport.
Like, I get it.
Yeah, man.
There's a passion there. You know what I mean? Like, and you can be passionate. You can yell at the umpires if you feel like it, but just understand what it's doing to your kid.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I believe I think the number I saw is about 70% of kids quit sports by the time they're like 13 because of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, there's a total different way to go about it. You know what I mean? And it all starts at home. you know. And if you're putting the work in and like, you know, you identify what your kids want to do, you know what I mean? If they don't want to play, there's nothing wrong with that. There's so many things to do in this world. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like everybody has something within them that they enjoy.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
it's like if it's like I tell my wife all the time is like if we ever have a kid, if they're into chess,
yeah.
yo, I'm gonna be your biggest fan
Absolutely.
at that chess match. Yo, I was in chess club when I was in middle school.
Yeah.
Like
yo, I was in chorus.
Yeah.
Like
there you go.
And like people were like, chorus?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, I just wanted to try something new.
Try something new.
You know what I mean? I was in a couple plays.
There you go.
You know what I mean? I always joke with Brenna. I'm like, yo, I should just bounce out to Hollywood and get into acting. You know what I mean? Like, and she's like, shut up. But I'm like,
yeah.
Yo, like I just want to try something new. Like I've done the sports thing. I like coaching, but there's still other things out there to try. You know what I mean? And even at our age, like just dive in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we only got one life to live, man.
Right.
Like just dive into whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, be positive. You know, like just be that positive light out there, because it's at the end of the day, there's so much negative going on, and it can be It can be draining, man. Dude. Like it can, and it's like it doesn't have to be that way.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like we're all people, and getting along, it should be, you know, just keep it simple. It's like don't worry about that shit. Right. You know what I mean? Like, but what do I know? You know what I mean? Like, but that's the way it is. Like, it's just people out here, man. It blows my mind, dude. Yeah. Like, it blows my mind.
All we can do is just like laugh about it and just keep walking.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like, and be grateful. Yeah. That's the biggest thing.
Be grateful and be appreciative.
Yeah.
Appreciative, you know, everything that you have. And I don't know.
It's just, that's where I'm at, man. Like, I try and be grateful for every day. You know what I mean? Like, because people don't get to wake up sometimes. Yeah. You know what I mean? Not to get, like, morbid or whatever, but, like, it's part of life. Right. It's part of life. So if I'm grateful for every breath I take, you know what I mean? And, like, just I'm there to support my family and just be a better man for my family, then that's all I can do. Exactly. You know what I mean? Is just be better every day. And that's what I try and do. So I appreciate it, man. This was awesome, dude.
Thanks for coming on. I appreciate
man.
you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Good stuff.